Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining us here on Emerald City Hockey's post-game live presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. So obviously mixed bag tonight. Guys, start with the good news of Shane Wright getting his first career NHL goal against the Montreal Canadiens, of course, the team that had the first overall pick this past draft and decided to pass on him, allowing him to fall to the Seattle Kraken at 4. That was huge. He played a fantastic game tonight, just absolutely dominating puck possession, all that good stuff. Looked like that stint in the AHL really did him wonders, and he was so confident, so good. I can't wait to break down his game later on. But flip side, Montreal wins the game. Definitely not the result that we wanted. I mean, it's a tough one because you really felt like the Kraken outplayed Montreal in this one and just they got goalied. What can we say? Jake Allen just showed up tonight and decided wasn't going to lose this one. I think it's just kind of as simple as that. Kraken defense not so great at times. Um you could kind of point to the defense on really all four Montreal goals, but is still it's a good night because Shane Wright back in the NHL looked like he belonged, looked like he was out there dominating, got his first goal. Absolutely love that, and team was perfect on the PK. So I'll take that, I guess. That we gotta look for those small victories on days like today. I think Hunter kicking us off in the chat with the regression to the mean post. Maybe a little bit, like obviously you rip off a 5-game win streak followed shortly by a 7-game win streak. You're gonna lose some games in there, and this is just what happens in the NHL sometimes. Sometimes you just run into a goaltender who's just says no, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So I do want to give credit to Jake Allen because it was a phenomenal goaltending performance that he put on tonight. Kraken were very, very good. Obviously, put up 33 shots, over double what Montreal was able to produce. Shot advantage wise, just Jake Allen, he made some big key saves, including 2 big ones on Shane Wright in that first period. Shane Wright almost had a first period hat trick. He was on fire so much. So it's just the way it is sometimes. Coop, well, that was frustrating, but heck yeah, Shane, congrats for sure. That's going to be the lasting takeaway from this game is that Shane Wright gets that first career NHL goal in that first game back, and that he looks so good leading that third line with Yanni Gord and Oliver Bjorkstrand. They absolutely were killing it when it came to possession. They were killing it when it came to just about anything you could look at. They were all so good, and Shane Wright especially just looked so solid, splitting the defense, finding his little pockets to set up in behind their defense, getting open, making sure he always kept a passing lane open from his teammates so that they could get him the puck, and then of course burying the goal. Really liked the game that I saw from Shane Wright in this one. Gives me a lot of stuff that I'm looking forward to in his future, and I'm really intrigued now to see what the Seattle Kraken do with him here in the next little bit. Whether or not they, this game to me, he looked really good. He looked like he belonged at the NHL level. It's going to be tough if they decide to send him off with Team Canada for the World Juniors. It's going to be a tough call for Ron Francis and company to make after a performance like this one. Tammy with the yay Shaner, absolutely Tammy. SJ Kraken absolutely dominating on the deserve to win-o-meter. I can imagine. That game comes down to goaltending. Allen was good, Jones was bad, and that's the game. Jones struggled a little bit, but I think I'd probably put this one more so on the Kraken defense, to be honest. You got Burakovsky with the brutal turnover. You got Dunn on that last goal. He made the call to go and try to be aggressive, go for that poke check. Didn't do it. Instead of playing the passing lane, didn't get the poke check job done. That passing lane's wide open. That's just a horrible spot to stick your goaltender in, and a horrible spot to stick Oliver Bjorkstrand in too. So I think that the defense and the goaltending is probably splitting responsibilities for the Kraken in this one. But like I said up top, Jake Allen just played a heck of a game, and sometimes there's just nothing that you can do about that. Joey, congrats, Shane. Kraken need to get better. Montreal shot 25%. That's unacceptable. I agree. You can't be giving them the spots on the ice where they can just pick apart your goaltender. You can't give them those free passes across. getting that goalie moving laterally. Like that's just the stuff that you just cannot do if you're the Kraken. Coop Allen was a wall tonight, and Suzuki's like really, really good. Nick Suzuki is really, really good. There is that is definitely a thing that we could confidently say. Yeah, it's just the way it is. I guess all we could say about that is thankfully he's no longer still with the Golden Knights and in their system. So don't have to deal with him in the division. When it comes to Suzuki, that would stink. Brian, congrats to Shane. He played great, went to the dangerous areas. Absolutely, Brian. Shane Wright looked like a seasoned vet out there. He looked like he totally knew what he wanted to do. And I'm telling you, I think he knew all along what he needed to do. He was just lacking that confidence at the NHL level. And that stint at the AHL seems to, he seems to have found it after that. And I'm really, really happy about that. But this was, we just talked yesterday on the deep dive about what do we want to see from Shane? What might the team want to see from Shane? And I think it was exactly this game to be confident enough to play low in the offensive zone, be aggressive, go to the net, puck battle. He was winning board battles behind the net. He was always right in there as they were trying to dig the puck out of the corner. The dude did anything and everything that you could ask from him in this one. And the Kraken just have such a special player on their hands. Like just the visions of the future of Matty Beniers and Shane Wright down the center for a long, long time. It doesn't get better than that, folks. It really, really doesn't. I'm certainly saying, yeah, that one. Allen was just not going to let anybody get by him, was he? No, Allen was totally on point tonight. SJ, really great shot by Shane to soothe my soul a bit. It was. I mean, that's understanding how a goaltender is going to play that situation, having to come off his post. You pick that near side under the arm. That's going to be there. Goalie's not expecting that kind of shot. Shane knew, and Shane took advantage. Really, really happy about that, and to see that from him. That first one's on Jones was bad, but just terrible defense on the other three. Like I said, it's a real mixed bag between the two of them throughout this one. Bottom line was Jones and the defense neither played well tonight. Let's be real. Tammy, word of the day, goaltending. I know. Rebecca, I briefly felt joy tonight. I think we had a lot of joy, and I think that it's okay to still feel that and still carry that forward, because in the grand scheme of things, Shane Wright getting confident at the NHL level, picking up that first goal so the monkey's off his back, so to speak, and all that stuff, that's going to mean a lot more really throughout the rest of this season and then moving forward to seasons after that than just this one game against Montreal. So I know we got the L. I know Jake Allen just came out and played out of his mind like he was, it's 2017 again or something. But I still think that this was a positive night overall for the Kraken, and it'll be looked back on as a positive night by all of us when given a little bit of time. Two good goalies in a row results into losses in a row from Walt there. I agree. I mean, we've just run into good goaltenders. But Spencer Knight played a fantastic game last game. Jake Allen, another good one tonight. It just happens. That's hockey. We got a bunch of those performances from Martin Jones. So, things just kind of balancing out a little bit, So it happened. Striatic, PK looked okay, I guess. So that's good, right? Yeah, PK actually looked pretty good tonight. I thought they did a good job of playing back a little bit more, trying to keep the play in front of them, try to focus on keeping away those passing lanes. Still think that there's some things that they could be doing. I think if you look at the Kraken power play that they had after the 4-on-4, that abbreviated power play, how Montreal played that when the Kraken were in their zone, that was pretty textbook as far as, okay, we're just got to kill off the last, 30 seconds of a power play. That's what it should look like. They played in very tight. It was a very tight box, four-man unit in front of Jake Allen there. You had guys laying down to make sure that they took away it's sometimes two passing lanes, not just one. They were able to take out, essentially the ability of the Kraken to get it to two different players. So I still think that there's some room for improvement with the Kraken PK, but the bottom line is Montreal was 0 for 4 on the power play. That's a win. It's a big, big win given how bad this PK unit has been as of late. Coop still getting so many terrible penalties. 2 delay of games. Are you serious? Got to tighten that stuff up. The discipline issue we just talked about. Montreal 0 for 4 on the power play. That's great. maybe don't give them four chances at it though, right? So discipline's still an issue for this team sometimes. Sergeant Pickles with the duds in here. Kraken D like a light switch. All my homies still hate back-to-back goals. Jones save percentage down bad. Not all on him though. I got to agree with you there. That is those were the duds tonight, Sergeant Pickles. Absolutely, you nailed it. It's just the way it goes sometimes. Um, Let's see, Joey. First one was not on Joe's. No goaltender is going to stop that one timer. It was tough because it was deflected. You know, that first one, it looked like it got deflected off of was it Burakovsky? I don't remember which Kraken it was, but it looked like it deflected off his knee pad just enough because you can see that the puck starts to dive. You can see the rotation of the puck changes. It gets a little bit more end over end, and then the puck dives as it's coming in on Jones. So he was kind of more set for that initial stop, and then the redirection just changed enough on him that he couldn't quite grab it. So it was just a tough game when it came to that kind of stuff. Rebecca, at least Sloth didn't score. That is right. That would have been really bad as if Slavkovsky got something going against us. Did pick up an assist. I thought he actually played a decent game overall. I was really impressed with his back checking, to be perfectly honest. That's not something that I saw a lot on the scouting tape. I think that's got to be something that Montreal has been working with him for. And, credit to him. He did a good job coming back and helping out his D in this one against the Kraken. And that one thing that you cannot teach is size. And there was some times he came in on like Jared McCann, and McCann, he was trying to win a board battle against him. Just not going to happen when you're going up against somebody with Slavkovsky's size. So I thought Slavkovsky played a good game, but yes, it would have been pretty brutal if he had also gotten a goal in this one. Thankfully, it was just Shane. Ty, man, what a polar game. Some killer defense and some of the worst. Done with a clinic in the first and then a monster dud. Kraken have to make a meh goalie look great. Trend going again. Need to shake it off. Yeah, like I said, Vince Dunn, he played a fantastic first period. He played well through the second period. Just on that last goal, the Rem Picklick one, when things were 4-on-4, I believe. Yeah. And that one is it's a tough call as they're entering the zone. You're up high, so you're not totally in the passing lane. Although if you really get going skating backwards and maybe you lay down, you can take away that passing lane. Instead, decided to try to defend up high, try to kill it, kill the Montreal rush there and try to get things going back the other way. Dives in for that poke check and just didn't get it. And then that put Oliver Bjorkstrand in a really tough spot, put Martin Jones in a really tough spot. So it's only one play, but sometimes one play can, have a big difference on the game. And that was kind of what we saw with that one. That being said, I like the idea of being aggressive in that situation. I like the idea of, hey, we're already down at that point, 3-1. You want to try to get offense going if you can, particularly later on in a period. I don't totally have a problem with him choosing to go aggressive in that situation. It's just if you're going to go aggressive, you got to execute. You got to make it work for you because otherwise it looks pretty brutal going back the other way. Dexter, this felt so much like so many games last season. A little bit in the sense that, yeah, I mean, there were games last year where we would dominate shots and we would dominate possession and just couldn't quite finish. And that was kind of an issue tonight, although I think that's more to do with Jake Allen than our inability to finish. I mean, guys were getting great looks. Burakovsky getting great looks. McCann had more than just the goal that he scored. Beniers had one. Shane Wright obviously had a couple. So I think a lot of it was just running into a hot goaltender, and it's rough. And, bottom line is, everybody, we tied them in the face-off circle 50-50. So how are we supposed to win games if we're doing well in the face-off dot? That's just the way this team works. We all know that that's the trade-off. That's the bargain we made to be better this year. So we got to lose the face-off battle to win the game. Let's see. The Bay 6 doubled them up on shots, and Allen made some plays, including the ridiculous knob save against Gord. A bit too sloppy from the Kraken to feel totally fine with it, but we played better than it looks. I totally agree with you. I think that that's a really, really good kind of one paragraph summary of how things went in this one. And yes, that save by Allen there, where he gets just enough of his stick on it and then is able to rotate back like that to hug the puck into his body using the knob of his stick was exceptional. Jake Allen, like I said, I don't want this to like just turn into Jake Allen fan hour or anything, but Jake Allen played a really, really good game. I think there's still just a ton of positives to take away from this one. If you're the Kraken, you were better on the PK. Shane Wright looks good and confident and can score at the NHL level now. You did dominate on this team, but discipline still an issue. Got to work on that. Got to work on cleaning things up defensively a little bit. And Martin Jones, whether they're his fault or not, the last couple games he's played have resulted in some elevated goals against numbers. And so that's also something I'd just like to see another game where Martin Jones doesn't have, you know, a really low save percentage again. Like I think if we could just get back to him being kind of more of our stud, I think that would be good for us. Um, Let's see. Sergeant Pickles studs still dominating shot differential. If there was a Calder version of the Selke, Maddie deserves that too. Who would have predicted a Shader revenge goal against the Habs? Lots of people were hoping for it. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to jump on it because I didn't want to like, try to force it or anything. I didn't want to put too much pressure on him, but we all wanted it and we all got it and he got it, and that's got to feel so good. So good for him. Really, really like that. SJ, I don't know how much more you can ask of the Seattle defense. They played a massive shot suppression game and got no goalie help. This felt like a game from last year. They did suppress a lot of shots from the Canadiens. However, I would say a majority of that was actually the work of the Kraken forwards. They were not losing any battles really when forechecking. They made sure that they maintained possession throughout this one. Defense did do a good job as far as they limited Montreal to the perimeter on zone entries. Jones didn't really have to deal with too much in the transition game. I will say though, looking at Montreal, they don't really have a lot of guys that are good in transition to begin with. Like this is not a very deep team. It's kind of a one line team if you look at it and you look at how they're playing. So I think the shot total number is a little misleading as far as how the defense overall played. But yeah, I mean, it's in some ways it is subjective, right? Like that's one of the things we learned after CHAC and all the stuff around this is that you can watch a hockey game and see a lot of different stuff. Um, Tammy, that literal last second goal by McCann was also super fun. That was super fun. Happy for Jared McCann. Gets back on the board. Team leading 12 goals. Let's go. Stratic, how are we doing on that cloning technology? Like, come on. When do we get that? When do we get a second Jared McCann in the lineup? Let's see. Frustrating. This is from Joey. Frustrating how much we lose at home compared to on the road. I know that's something that I really hope that the Kraken can figure out and kind of turn things around. It's awesome that you can win on the road. That's a really tough thing to do in the National Hockey League and really any professional sport. But give the Seattle fans some love. Like, come on. That's what we all want to see. We all want to be able to go to a game and celebrate a Kraken win and see the fish get yeeted, right? Like that's what it's all about. We want that. Oh man. Ty, definitely the most impressive game by Shane so far. The kid was in the dirty areas and line mates were finding him decent along the boards as well. He should stay 3C in my opinion. Let him play with 37 and 22. I agree with you, Ty. I would at the very least give him another game there and see how he does before really making the call on Canada and the World Juniors. That's what I would do. We have to see. The Kraken have all along said they have a plan, and they've done a very good job of just sticking to their plan through thick and thin and through whatever it is that us in the media or us in the fan community have been saying. So I guess we're going to find out what the plan actually entails for them. But I will say I like the way Dave Hackstall handles guys in situations like this. I mean, he gave Shane Wright's line the most amount of ice time in the first period of any Kraken lines because they were just playing well. Like I like that Dave Hackstall is just saying, okay, I'm gonna coach the guys in front of me. I'm not going to change what I'm doing, whether or not Shane Wright is here or not. And so when Shane Wright's out there and that line is producing, guess what? That line gets to eat minutes. And when they weren't later on in the game, they weren't out there to eat minutes. So I liked that. I love that consistency from Dave Haxtell. I love that we can expect that from him and that he will continue to deliver on that. And he's kind of a man of his word in that situation. And so I will say that I just want to throw that one out there for the coach. Let's see. Dexter, the last two games are making me nervous. Maybe it's just recency bias, but scared. We got a couple rough weeks ahead. It's entirely possible. We kick things off with the regression to the mean comment, but I don't think we're going to run into goaltending like Jake Allen tonight very often, or even Spencer Knight in the last game. I think if we get up against a goaltender who's struggling a little bit or just isn't playing like lights out, I think the Kraken are going to be fine and probably find themselves back in the win column. Uh, let's see. Edward with some studs here. Shane Wright getting his first NHL goal. Dud screwing up 4-on-4 line change. Yes, that's the other part of the 4-on-4 situation that was bad. So again, it's one where it's like I hate putting something like that on Jones when you just had lots of stuff going on in a bunch of different areas. Jake, at least we got a right goal and the PK looked better with Geeky back. That's right. We talked about the other two things, Jake, but I'm going to focus on Geeky there because I really liked having Morgan Geeky back. I thought he played a really strong game in this one. He really helped things out in the faceoff dot, winning 86% of his faceoffs. Not a ton of ice time for that fourth line in this one, in part because the Shane Wright line earlier on in the game was playing so well. I think they wanted to give them as much ice time as they could. And then obviously, when you're down late in a game, you're going to be riding those top two lines as much as possible, trying to get a goal as well. But I thought it was a really solid return for Morgan Geeky. I don't know exactly how much if he played on the PK. I'm trying to remember, but it would not surprise me as I just kind of talked about that on the deep dive. I think Morgan Geeky this season has been our best defender on the PK of the forwards. And so if having him back, is it coincidence that, you're able to kill off all four Montreal penalties? I don't know, probably, given he only played 8 minutes tonight. But I still think just having him around for situations like that is going to be super, super useful. Glad to have him back. Thought Spronger played a good game too in his limited ice time as well. The base six, what's up with Larson? Larson just has games sometimes like this, and the bottom line is can't be taking penalties. That interference call in the first period, it's brutal interference call. Can't do that. He knows better, but he does a good job. He recovers from stuff. I still really like what he does offensively in the offensive zone. The way he tries to get shots off, the way he tries to, especially coming on a line change, he really tries to join rushes and try to make those sometimes all too brief moments of transition really happen for the Kraken. I really like that. But it wasn't his best game tonight. Gotta clean up that one penalty. And then he did a good job of playing a little further back. He had been caught up high, especially on the PK. Thought he did a much better job of playing down low, and that's maybe why also we didn't see a power play goal for the Montreal Canadiens tonight. Joey, Shane wasn't timid. Exactly, Joey. That's telling you that is very good. He's I just that's what I love to see about him. Like that's what I wanted to see about him all along. That's the kind of thing that makes me say, you know what, he belongs in the NHL and he's going to do just fine long term here. And I get really, really excited about things. Let's see. Tammy, really glad that on top of everything, Shane's first goal was versus Montreal. Also, loved Yanni making sure to grab the puck for him. Yes, I tweeted about that. Yanni, no hesitation. The moment that goal is scored, everybody's rushing to Shane Wright. Yanni is diving in there almost. He's so excited to go and collect that puck. Jake Allen hasn't even turned around before Yanni's already in the net, digging it out with his stick to make sure he collects that puck for Shane. Gotta love that from the veteran line mate there, and just that ball of positive energy that is Yanni Gourde. Oh, I absolutely love it. CR Bud, Shane's first shot was 6 inches from being a tally. It totally was, dude. Absolutely. I cannot believe he did not score on that one. I thought that was a goal all the way, and I was like, this is an amazing play. What a highlight to have for your first goal. Obviously, he still got an amazing play for his second one, but that was going to be one that you could just totally break down and show this is a kid who is so confident. He's splitting the defense. He's attacking with speed. He's able to make this read. Great hand-eye coordination. And you can still say all that about him. It's just Jake Allen made a good save. Wish he had just gotten a little bit more elevation on it, but still happy that he ended up getting that first goal in that first period anyway, because, you never know with young guys, an 18-year-old, you get that fantastic chance, you do everything right, and then it just doesn't work out. You could see that potentially getting into someone's head. And Shane Wright said, no, I'm not going to let that get to me. I'm going to continue to attack. Tonight is my night. And he went out there and he managed to get one anyway, in spite of it. So really, really love that from Shane Wright. Brian, the deep dive covered what Shane needed to do, and then he did it. The deep dive covered what the PK needed to do, and then they did it. The deep dive has power. Yes, all this time we've been wasting the deep dive podcast's power on predicting future events that would then come 5 minutes after we go live with it, and it's always just some like roster move or something. So maybe there is something to waiting till the afternoon to record, let the morning littler news subside, and then focus on future games and future output from the team. Maybe we got to try that moving forward and see what's up. Sean, okay, Dylan waxing poetic about the future of Maddie and Shane makes me feel way better. Glad I could help make you feel a little bit better, Sean, but I 1,000% believe it. I really think that this is the kind of game and performance from Shane Wright gives me confidence in him. And it's one of those things we're going to look back on very fondly, despite the loss. It's not going to mean that much in the future compared to what it's going to mean for Shane Wright in his career. Let's see. Kepler, we had some real sloppy puck handling that directly led to a few of their goals. Exactly. Got to clean up some of that stuff. You know, discipline isn't just about taking penalties. It's also being disciplined with the puck, not giving away free turnovers, especially in certain situations where you can feed an opposing team's attack. So just got to be a little bit tighter with all that kind of stuff for the Kraken. And really, that's the only thing that they're not doing right now. That's the only thing that they're not doing right now. Because otherwise, you look at the rest of this game and you're like, hey, they were pretty good. Essentially, yes, they were 0 for 3 on the power play, but one of those was very abbreviated. So more like 0 for 2 on the power play. That just happens, right? So I just think discipline when it comes to the turnovers and with the penalties is really what the Kraken need to be focusing on this at this point. And I think they're pretty aware of that. I think they are trying to work on that. Let's see. Joey, very disappointing. Now we play Washington, Florida, Tampa, and Carolina. Let's hope this doesn't snowball into an extended losing streak. I don't think it will. I mean, keep in mind, we just came back and beat Washington just a little while ago. So we know that one's possible. Florida, Spencer Knight really got to us. The officials kind of maybe got to us a little bit in that game too. So I'm not too worried about that one. Tampa hasn't looked the same this year. I'm not going to lie. They lost to Detroit earlier tonight pretty solidly. So, we'll see what the situation there. And then, Carolina's Carolina. They're just a good hockey team. That's always going to be a tough building to go play and try to deal with. So looks like we got RJ here ready to join us. Going to go ahead and switch this up, bring him in. RJ, Shane Wright gets his first goal against the Montreal Canadiens. The narrative that so many of us were hoping for, dreaming for, able to make it happen tonight.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And let's just start with saying I'm not sure how well this is going to work. I lost my voice the other day. I'm sure you probably told everyone already.
No, I saved it as a surprise.
Okay. Well, this may be been the grind on my end. You can hear I'm not. My voice is not 100%. I'm feeling great otherwise, but may struggle to get some of the words out. So everyone, please bear with me. But yeah, it was a fantastic moment. So lucky to have been able to see it here in person. I mean, it was the narrative that everybody had been thinking about in the back of their minds all day. I know you and I thought about it. I'm sure everybody watching was thinking about that possibility. And then lo and behold, it comes true.
Yep. Stratic pointing out Seattle is still 7-4-1 versus Montreal since 1917 with a plus 24 goal differential. So these are the things to keep in mind. I was talking earlier, RJ, about how, Shane Wright kind of all the questions we had yesterday on the deep dive, Shane Wright answered them. He played strong. He played confidently, all the stuff. I've already broken it all down. But that the bottom line is, we're going to look back at this game about him getting that first goal, about him having this strong NHL performance. And we're going to look back on this later on as he continues to develop and stuff very fondly. And all of that is going to mean so much more than the 2 lost points tonight.
Yes, agreed. I mean, when we think back of this game in years, that's the moment we're going to remember. And I think we're going to look back on it as a miniature, almost Shane Wright has arrived type of moment, because it wasn't just that goal. It was that whole period and an extent that whole game. that he was playing so well. And I'm sure you've broken it down already. But Shane joked after the game that the word confidence has been thrown at him a lot over the last couple days. But there's a reason that kind of the cliches, and those terms are cliches. It's that we can all see it, and I think we saw the confidence there tonight.
Agreed. We got 2 reminders in here to like the stream. I like this one. We've got one from Absurdly saying, I like this one from Tammy. Like the stream in honor of Shane's first goal. Thank you
there
very
we go.
much.
That's good.
2 of you. That's really solid there. Let's see. This is probably from when I was talking about Slavkovsky's size, and I did think Slav played a good game. RJ SJ with there was a moment where Dunn tried to hit Slav in the first, and he just completely bounced off. It was pretty funny. Slav is a big dude. He is solid, and he knows how to use it. It is kind of fun to watch that. Not gonna
for
lie.
sure. I mean, you can't teach that size, and I enjoyed watching him in this game too. I mean, he and Shane Wright, they're both very good players.
Yeah. Valentina, it was impossible not to notice how good the Habs are at rebound management. Allen is great with suppression, and if one gets away, there's always someone right there to sweep it away. I agree. I mean, they had opportunities. The Kraken definitely had opportunities around, rebounds, and Allen was letting in rebounds. That was kind of like the only flaw you could say about his game in this one. But Montreal, they did a good job of clamping down and not letting stuff like that through.
Exactly. Lack of second chances, and their defense around the net front was just, it was suffocating.
Yeah. Got a super chat here from CR Bud. Thank you very much, CR Bud. Asking the question, is that RJ or Barry White?
Good question. Good question.
This is RJ from the parallel universe where he spent the last 70 years chain smoking. That's what we've got going on. That's what we've got going on tonight. I feel like everyone knows that Jared McCann downhill power play shot now need to find another go-to power play look. That's from Coop. I don't know. I still think that the Kraken power play in this one, they were trying to do a lot. I thought that the Montreal PK was very solid. They did a good job of getting in. They obviously did learn some things like that, right? Where they got good at getting in the passing lanes up high, because so much of the Kraken power play relies on using that power play quarterback to either move it to, a Maddie or a Burakovsky on one side for a one-timer, or to get it over to a Jared McCann who can then kind of walk in and shoot. And I thought that they did a good job of keeping their 2 forwards up high and being able to kind of dictate the play, something we talked about wanting to see from the Kraken PK. I felt like Montreal just kind of had their number in this one.
Yeah, it did feel like that, on the power play. And I mean, the McCann shot, it's an effective play, but you've got to, and I don't think the Kraken have really had trouble with this all season in general, is just having other options. So you have to respect that. You have to respect the play down low. There's lots of different plays you have to respect. But tonight, I think the Habs really did a good job on their film study.
Exactly. Got another super chat here from Brian. Thank you very much. RJ is the voice of the deep dive.
Yeah. Oh man, it is something. It was okay this morning, and it's just kind of gotten worse and worse as the day has gone on. So the Shane Wright goal didn't help, because I had to talk a bunch. I'd be like, oh my god, and that that ate away at it. But yeah.
I was going to say, I was having to talk over all the visiting Montreal media. All I've heard from all of you guys up there is just how many people were in town for this one.
So many.
So let's see.
Good news is it brought the big game and everything. The big story brought friend of the show Ryan Clark, now at ESPN, brought him out there. So
nice.
I attempted to talk to him. My voice didn't really cooperate, but it was good to see him again.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I actually turned over to watch after Shane Wright scored. I switched over to watch the Canadiens broadcast, because I wanted to hear what they were going to say about Shane Wright and everything. And I stayed on it through most of the second period, but I'm telling you, everybody, it's brutal out there when you go away from root sports. It is absolutely brutal. You never know what you're going to get with broadcasting teams. Play-by-play person trying to cover this Montreal Canadiens game did a great job. Color guy, brutal. Absolutely brutal. It was really bad.
En français ou anglais?
Anglais. Yep.
Yeah.
I will say their intermission show is always good because it's TSN, so they get all the insiders, get to hear some good stuff from around the league and stuff. And I've always thought Tessa Bonhomme does a fantastic job and everything. So she hosts that. I was happy to see that. Duthin with the super chat in here as well. Salute to the effort. Hoping for a good road trip. Feel better soon, RJ. And
thank you, Duthin. Appreciate that.
And then we got Edward jumping in with the super chat contribution for the Buy Ricola for RJ Fund.
Thank you. Oh man, I guess I should mess up my voice everywhere. It's freaking at the super chats.
I know.
But appreciate that and the well wishes from everyone. I am powering through this one.
Yep. Let's see. I liked the stream and the score looked better, but I don't understand. Oh, but I understand. Yeah. And then let's see. Where was I? Here. Honestly, the more I see of Hackstall, the more I like him. That's from Sarah. Yeah, I thought Hackstall did a good job. I was kind of saying right before you hopped on with us, RJ, that I like that we can expect these kinds of things from Hackstall. He said all along, he's going to coach this team to try to win games, right? He's not going to care about narratives. He's not going to care if the young guy's in the lineup and try to, handle him in any sort of special way. And he stuck with that. Shane Wright's line was the most effective line in the first period, so they got the most ice time. It was amazing. Simple. Yeah. It was awesome. So really, really like that from Dave Hackstall. They made us look silly with some of their transition plays. That's from Kepler. I felt like a lot of that was more errors on our part than it was the strength of the Montreal transition play. I was saying earlier to RJ, I really feel like this Montreal team is more of a one-line team. And I felt like a lot of the stuff that they were able to do, it was because of either bad turnovers, bad line changes, or just bad defense.
I think you covered it really all three. And if you look at those last 3 goals against, the bad turnover from Andrei Burakovsky in his own zone, kind of trying to avoid getting hit there, throws it right up the middle, and it's a goal right back the other way. Bad line changes on that 4-on-4 one. The Kraken had 3 guys on the ice basically when that goal was scored. That's not good. And then bad defense right off after that first goal. It's allowing a goal, in the next 20 seconds. It's that kind of thing. I would pin a lot of that on the Kraken. Aside from those little stretches, though, they were dominant for long parts of the game. Just you can't have those kind of errors.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agreed. Absurdly saying Tanev looked to me like he got the memo about the PK too. Agreed. Tanev I thought looked better. Overall, the PK looked better. Still room for improvement, but definitely looked better tonight. Ty, Winterhawks dropped their red jerseys tonight. Hope the Kraken don't copy them. I think we're safe, Ty. I think that's a one-way street when it comes to jersey inspiration, we'll call it. Valentina, FYI, Rem is the best Pitlick. Too bad he got recalled on a night he was playing against us.
I know. Kraken killer Rem Pitlick, 5 points in 3 games against the Seattle Kraken. I don't know what it is, and a lot of them here. I think all but one here in this building. The Kraken need to find some way to get Rem Pitlick, because if he's just a 2-point per game player at Climate Pledge Arena, that needs to be happening in the Kraken's favor.
Agreed. I thought we were okay because I wasn't in the building, but I guess not. So just the way things go. Keep saying these wonderful things about Shane, and I might forget about the score. Shane Wright, so fantastic. And how awesome was that intermission interview after his goal with Piper Shaw? Oh, he was just so happy about it, talking about how he just kind of blacked out when she asked him to talk about the goal. He was just, honestly, it felt great, and I kind of blacked out. Like, I don't remember.
Yeah, and after the game, Shane could not keep the smile off his face. I mean, it's tough to lose that, but when you score your first NHL goal, he described it, it's one of those moments you're going to remember your entire life. And you could see how happy everyone was for him. And he really did downplay the whole aspect of it being against Montreal specifically, but he really got prodded at the end, like, are you sure? And he said, well, maybe a little bit. That's all I gave. And then he kind of walked it back some more. But I thought some really good answers from him, some really mature answers from him also. Talked about putting things in perspective that, as an 18-year-old, you can't expect to just go in there and light the world on fire and everything. You have to grow, you have to progress. And I think that's something that he's keeping in mind all the time. And so just to see that maturity from him too after a game like this, after a big moment like this, it was good to see.
For sure. Kepler Shane looks so good. I was worried after his golden opportunity early in the first got stopped, but he didn't miss his next chance. Exactly. He was a man on a mission tonight for sure. Tyler asking, what did you think about Slavkovsky? I thought he played a really solid game. I talked about this earlier, so forgive me if I you already heard the answer to this or not, but I thought Slavkovsky played a really solid game. What impressed me about him was his back checking. That's not really something that got to see a lot when scouting him. But tonight he was really impressive back checking, trying to help out his defenders. And then once he gets into any sort of board battle situation, he's just so big, it's game over. McCann tried, but it didn't matter. Let's see. Tammy Shane also broke a Kraken record, stole youngest player with a goal from Maddie. That's right. And this, if this team's going to be on like a playoff trajectory for a little while, that's a record that'll probably stand for quite a bit of time. But continuing our kind of streak of breaking records here, RJ.
That's a good one. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah. Randy, sounds like Erik Karlsson might be available from San Jose. Huge contract, but if they retain a chunk and we send a D back, done. Schultz, Susie Carson is elite and could be a difference maker. Yeah, no, it's not just
do it.
It's not just the money of that contract; it's the term. I mean, you're talking about like 5 years left on that contract. It's just absolutely a brutal contract. No matter how much they take, they retain it. It's just not enough. Let's see. I love Caulfield from Tyler. I don't, because I'm playing against him in fantasy. brutal night to be starting Martin Jones and playing against Cole Caulfield, let me tell you. Patrick, need to be able to receive passes at speed and keep up with Maddie. I agree with that. I think that was something that the Kraken wasn't necessarily that they struggled with it tonight, but luck didn't seem to be on their side. So many passes just, puck kind of jiggling a little bit, and then it hit a divot right before it'd get to the Kraken stick and bounce right over the blade. And it just felt like it was one of those between Jake Allen and some of those opportunities. You were just like, I just don't know that we can pull this one out tonight.
Yeah, agreed.
What do you think about Suzuki and Caulfield? Talked about them a little bit earlier. Number one thing is that I'm just thankful that Suzuki is not with the Golden Knights and we don't have to deal with him in the division because he's a heck of a hockey player. Let's see. In an instant, we have forgotten RJ's normal voice. That's from Brian.
I feel like I've forgotten it. I don't remember what I normally sound like, but this ain't it.
No, this kind of isn't it. Just go re-listen to the Deep Dive podcast, everybody.
There we go. That's what you should do.
Paul, when Shane snapped that puck in, I immediately started crying, and it was like a bottom of the ninth and gone. It was such a fantastic moment. I was so happy for him, so happy for his family, just so happy for all of us who have been on this journey with Shane and been rooting for him and really wanted to see something like this happen for him. It was truly fantastic. It was a nice magical moment. And like I said, up top, that's going to be the thing that's going to keep with me from this game. You know what I mean? Like the loss, it's a loss. You have many losses over the course of a season, but him getting that first goal in that first NHL game back and playing the way he did, that's going to be something all of us who are here to experience it are going to remember for a very long time.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Shane with 11-12 time on ice tonight felt like more Bjorkstrand with 10:08. Yeah. As the game went on, I felt like their line kind of lessened in the overall effectiveness. I think that's where special teams gets, also taken into play. You get a couple power play opportunities, you get the 4-on-4, you get obviously the 4 PK chances. And then, as I said earlier too, you're playing down a couple goals late. You're just kind of rolling your top 6, trying to get something going at that point. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Sprong made some fantastic passes tonight. I'd like to see his line mates picking those up. Agreed. I thought Sprong did some good stuff. And then also RJ, I talked about. I really thought Morgan Geekie played a good game. I won't make you talk a bunch about it, but I liked having him back.
You could feel his presence returning to the lineup, and especially the way that fourth line was operating with him in the center there, and also on the penalty kill. We talked about this on the podcast about getting Geekie back might be have some good effects, and I think it did tonight. Just really good to have him back in the lineup, but especially for an upper body injury that looked like a head injury. It's always good to see that he's back and able to play.
Exactly. Let's see. Brian, Morgan Geekie won 6 of 7 faceoffs. Wenberg was solid on faceoffs, but beyond that, I didn't see him. I know I already brought it up, RJ. Kraken tied Montreal 50-50. in the face-offs. That's why we couldn't get the W tonight. I'm just saying. Let's see, Striatic. I don't know if it's been mentioned, but Wright was on ice for his first goal against as a Kraken tonight. Striatic, we're just talking about how great it was, how memorable it was that he was out there to score his first goal. Come on.
And I know which one it was. It was that third goal, the one that came like 7 seconds after the second one. It was that one. Tough play off the face up there.
It was. Sean Lowell Carlson gave RJ his voice back. It is true. Your voice was a little stronger there when it came time to talk about that. Shoeshine saying EK can stay in San Jose. I want Meyer at the deadline, would sure help with scoring. Yeah, I mean, if you could maybe somehow pull that one off, that would be cool. But I think you'd have to give up a lot.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Shane Wright finished with a 0 in the plus-minus. Same can't be said for Wenberg with the -3. It was a rough night for the Kraken's top line as a whole. I felt like, Burakovsky had the rough turnover that led to a goal. Felt that there was some other times that he just kind of wasn't able to really get his game going. You could see him searching for it in the offensive zone or on the power play, and he just wasn't able to quite find it in this one. And it happens sometimes. Let's see, Tammy, we seem to try and miss a lot of long passes tonight. Yeah, like I said, it just, for whatever reason, there was just some stuff that wasn't together there for the Kraken in this one. And then on top of that, you've got the Jake Allen playing the way he does, and it's just, you get the result that you get, which is an unfortunate loss. But like I said, still so many positives to take away from this one, including Shane Wright getting that first goal. And even more importantly, Shane Wright playing so well, so confident, doing all the things that we said yesterday we wanted to see him do. He was there and he was doing them. It was fantastic. Let's see, Shane Wright's first NHL goal was a sweet one. Nice assist from Gord. Tough loss, though. The upcoming road trip is definitely winnable. I agree. I think that there are winnable games on this road trip. I think that it's one of those that's, I can see why it looks scary on paper, particularly thinking back to last year. But, Florida, it's not the same team as last year. Tampa, not the same team as last year. Washington, well, we just know what we did to Washington. I think there's definitely chances for the Kraken to kind of turn this little skid that they're finding themselves in around as they get there.
And this season, the Kraken have fared well when they're able to get into a rhythm on the road. That's something we've noticed. Is their road record still better than their home record? I think it might be.
Yes, it is. We talked about that earlier about like why can't this team win at home for these poor fans, RJ? 8-1-1 away, 7-6-2 at home. So vastly better on the road than at home. Definitely something to figure out. Gonna go ahead and do a last call here. I know we're only 47 minutes into this, but I don't want poor RJ to have to sit here and try to struggle to speak. We need him to save his voice for future post games and future podcasts and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and call for a last call here in the comments section. But otherwise, it's like I said, it's you lost the 2 points, but grand scheme of things, when you look back on this at the end of the season, you look back on this in 10 years after Shane Wright's been having a fantastic career with the Seattle Kraken, it's not going to be what we remember about tonight, and it's going to feel pretty insignificant, the fact that it was a loss.
Well said.
Sergeant Pickles, RJ sounds like my headcanon voice for Dogskoy. That's a new one. That's a good one. Ty, I'm over Wenny. Same old story. Berkey is having to carry that line when Schwartz isn't buzzing. I miss the 95-10 pair. Just shut up and give me a second. But that 19-10 combo has been killer too. In Colorado, Berkey had skill to feed. I think Burakovsky, I mean, he's been off and on. He might still be leading the Kraken in points, so I think he's still doing fine. I do feel like Wenberg has kind of been the missing link there on that line just a little bit lately. But that being said, I mean, there was a really close one where, again, I think it was Burakovsky made a great feed to a streaking Wenberg who was coming right down the slot, totally uncovered, and it just bounced right over his blade last second. I was just like... It was just one of those. Stratic, I'm not trying to be a wet blanket. I thought Shane played great, and I prefer him leaning into offense right now, even if that means some goals against. I know, I'm just teasing you, Striatic. It's what we do. Let's see. Ty, need another threat to open Berkey back up. He's shooting at an all-time high for his career, but teams are adjusting. I do wonder how much of that, though, is just him being in this position for the first time in his career where he can be on the top line, right? He hasn't ever been in that situation. I wonder if it's just if it's just a natural progression for him shot-wise. Let's see, Kepler, this was my second ever live Kraken game, and I've been manifesting that for that Shane goal to happen since I pre-ordered the tickets this summer. So happy I got to see it now. I just need to see a win. Awesome for you, Kepler. Super happy for you. That is so fantastic. Just another thing that can kind of make this night a positive one in spite of the loss there. Really happy for you. Four Horsemen just got back from the game. Brutal D, but Shane Wright scored. Exactly. That's the takeaway from this game for sure. Let's see. Ty with the when he would have passed it, though. I was looking. There was no one for him to pass it to. I know he would have tried, but he could have passed it right to the back of the net.
There you go.
Let's see. Edward with the pattern here for what's going on with the Kraken. They had the 5-game win streak followed by 2 losses, followed by the 7-game win streak, followed by 2 losses now. So 9-game win streak incoming. Let's go Kraken. Heard it here first, everybody. We've cracked the code. The glitch in the matrix has been found. This is it.
I'd be happy with that pattern.
For sure. Brian, after I stopped cheering, I immediately thought of you, Striatic, knowing you'd be proud of Shane in the tough areas and taking shots and scoring. Love it. Rock them Jordans. Going to a Sharks game tomorrow for the first time. I'm in the Bay Area for honeymoon. Thoughts? It's versus Vancouver. Oh my gosh, that would be the perfect question for you, RJ. I know. Maybe RJ can tweet something later if you DM the Emerald City Hockey account. Maybe
I can tell you. I can type things, man.
Yeah, so go ahead and do that. It's at Emerald City HKY on Twitter or Instagram. You can hit us up there too. All right, I want to get RJ out of here because his voice is totally going. Like everybody. I said, we need it. We need it for the future. Gonna go ahead and call it for this post game too. It was a fantastic night, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for this one. Thanks so much for all of us being together on on the Discord, on Twitter, on all the socials. Just being in spirit with everybody as we watched that Shane Wright goal. I could really feel it. It felt like we were all in that one together. Super pumped to go through that with everybody. And then, of course, thank you all so much for joining us here on Emerald City Hockey's Postgame Live, presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. There it is. And thanks so much to everybody who also gave with the super chats tonight. We really appreciate that one. But until next time, gotta say, see y'all later.